presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Florida.
Baseball's hottest hitter in May is back home with no sign of slowing down. 46 hits this month for Marcell Ozuna. Pittsburgh arrives with one of baseball's best. Andrew McCutchen leads a dynamic boatload of Pirates into Miami. It's Memorial Day baseball. It's Marlins. It's Pirates. The holiday weekend comes to a close. And we hope that you are still having a terrific Memorial Day weekend holiday. And it ends tonight as the homestand begins and a four-gamer begins. The digital camo designed by the U.S. Marine Corps, worn by both the Marlins and the Pirates. Jeff Locke, lefty for Pittsburgh. Justin Nicolino, lefty for Miami. Preston Wilson, right-hander for Fox Sports Florida. With me tonight, hi everybody, I'm Rich Waltz. Pirates right now are second in the Central to the Cubs. They might not be that far behind the Cubs. This is a really offensive team, and they score runs, they steal bases, they hit home runs.
This lineup puts pressure on you from top to bottom. I think one of the biggest things that happens, though, is to have Gregory Polanco move out of that leadoff spot. And now he's a big 6'5" guy. So he's now a run producer. He's a power guy. And you add him into that lineup, moving Jaso up at the top, and you still got hitters up and down with Josh Harrison, Cervelli. This is a very deep lineup.
Now, quick update. Giancarlo Stanton hit, not in the lineup. Derek Dietrich is fine, not in the lineup because a lefty's going, but available to play. Christian Yelich is in the lineup. The guy that's been a constant throughout has been Marcell Ozuna, who has to be at the very top of the conversation for Player of the Month in May.
You know, sometimes bad things happen for a good reason. And even though Marcell had the setback last year, I think this has instilled a brand new drive, a brand new openness to learn, and a willingness to get better for Marcell Ozuna. Sometimes early success can work against you. I think with what he went through last year, he's ready to go on, and some are saying this guy's looking like a superstar.
So, who's going to throw against this Pittsburgh team to start? It's Justin Nicolino. The lefty goes for the fish. Nicolino, last time out, pitched well against the Rays. The Marlins won that ball game. He got a no decision. On Memorial Day, let's go down to the field now and the national anthem.
And presenting the colors this evening is the Honor Guard from the United States Navy Operational Support Center, Miami. And performing the Star Spangled Banner for us this evening is Cassie Gallego.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
to go. Marlins at Pirates. When we get back, we're out in center field with Jeff and Craig. Juan Nieves on their way in. We're on our way out. Center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
Hey, thank you, Rich, and good evening, everybody. Well, the Marlins got some very good news after a scary finish to a day that Derek Dietrich is never going to forget, but now it'll have a different reason. He had a career-high 4 RBIs. He had a homer, but this play happened in the 9th inning that literally floored him.
Yeah, one of his best offensive outputs. Unfortunately, sitting on the bench, Christian Yelich hits a perfectly placed foul ball into the dugout, ricochets off the back wall, and smokes him in the back of the head. He goes down.
Now, he was down, but not as it turned out. He did spend the night in Atlanta, did come back today. All the symptoms were very good. No concussion, good vitals last night, if you will. And today, they had a little fun with him.
Yeah, Brian Morse bought him a little hard hat here with his name and number on it, just to make sure that they knew that, hey, you got hit in the head last night, but you're okay today. You're part of our trip, or you're part of our team. You look what he did in the road trip. Unbelievable. Yeah. 526, a home run, 5 RBIs. Been doing outstanding there at second base.
The team gave him a standing ovation when he came out, and then that helmet was put on him by Brian Morris. All right, we got game 1 of 4. It's a good series, good ball club too. The Pirates and the Fish will get it going next on this Memorial Day from South Florida.
Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Pirates and Marlins, this game was supposed to be in San Juan, Puerto Rico. But of course, with the Zika virus, the 2 games to be played here and then 2 more. So it's a 4-game set. Here come the Buccos. You help sports medicine, Preston Wilson.
The Pirates attack is Josh Harrison, the leadoff. Andrew McCutchen is hitting second. David Freese is batting third. Jung Ho Kang, who I think is pretty incredible, is batting in a cleanup spot. Starting Marte, Francisco Cervelli, Gregory Polanco. And then at the bottom, you got Sean Rodriguez, who is their everything, their super utility guy now. And Jeff Locke, the lefty, gets the start.
And it's Justin Nicolino who makes start number 7 against these Pirates. Josh Harrison. Oh, that can only be Jim Joyce behind home plate with that strike 1 call. Justin Nicolino's numbers, an even 2-2, a no decision in a 4-3 win in St. Pete against the Rays. And Nicolino did a much better job of that in his last start, and that is missing bats. He struck out a career high 6 to double his strikeout total. He now has 12 strikeouts in 6 starts. 0-2 to Harrison. Just missed. And the count's 1-2. Harrison out the last 2 games. Outstanding numbers. A guy that is a bundle of energy. Golfs that one almost off the ground into right. Gillespie underneath that camo cap makes the catch. Here's the defense. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Christian Yelich, Marcelo Zuna, and Cole Gillespie in the outfield. Martin Prado and Chris Johnson on the corners. Miguel Rojas and Adeiny Echeverria up the middle. JT Real Muto behind home plate. There was a soccer match. Colombia and Haiti played a friendly here last night. And of course, I don't know if Jim Joyce was here to watch it or not, but the reason the Marlins had a soccer game here last night was this was not supposed to be here tonight. The Marlins and the Pirates were supposed to be in San Juan for 2 nights. And tip of the cap to the grounds crew and everybody in the building to convert this back into baseball and get everything ready for this ball game. Andrew McCutchen, David Freese also scheduled here in the first. That one pulled foul. Now the count's 1-2. Don Mattingly out there earlier taking a look at the field.
Got to give it a thorough look over. And I appreciate the fact that he's a former infielder, but he's walking around checking out the outfield grass. That's impressive to me.
Yeah, a lot of infielders never venture out there unless it's for a pop-up. That fastball is in, and they count 2-2. You can see just in the 2 hitters, Nicolino is very aggressive, getting strikes and then pounding the ball in.
I like that he's trying to establish the inside part of the plate early to keep those Pirates hitters honest. I like what I'm seeing.
And McCutchen pulls it foul. The Pirates are filled with players that have outstanding numbers. McCutchen, though, is off to somewhat of a slow start by his standards.
Yeah, only 258. The power's there with 9 home runs, but this would be considered a pedestrian start for him. It's not the MVP type numbers, eye-popping numbers.
Bouncer to short. Echeverria's got it onto first in time. And Nicolino has a couple of outs right out of the get-go here in Miami tonight. David Freese now, a name that you associate with the St. Louis Cardinals, that you've seen in an Angels uniform the last couple of seasons. And here is Freese at first for the Pirates and hitting third. Freese, a World Series hero. Back when the Pirates won, or excuse me, the Cardinals won it in 2011. He was the MVP in both the World Series and the National League Championship Series.
When you can plug in a guy with that experience in the 3-hole,
Freese to right, that's well hit. Gillespie goes back, looks up, bangs off the wall, cleanly played by Gillespie, and Freese is in with a double. So David Freese, his 8th double of the season. He homered yesterday in a loss in Texas to the Rangers.
Has always had great power to right center and right field, and he stays on that ball and drives it into right off the wall. Cole Gillespie does the best that he can and try to play this on the carom, but that ball's just hit too hard, and that's an easy double for David Freese. It's just something about the sound of the bat when the ball's hit opposite field. It just sounds different to me. Like I always, if I hit a home run to right field, it felt better than when I pulled one. It feels like the ball stays on the bat longer. Like it's just a different feel when you drive the ball the other way.
Well, the Pirates are just happy that this guy's in uniform and driving the ball to all fields. And that's the Korean Jung Ho Kang. Kang had his season ended last year in September in a slide at second. Chris Coughlin upended it. And it actually fractured his leg, and he needed a repair of his meniscus. And his return has been maybe a little quicker and a little better than some have anticipated.
He made quite a splash when he came back this year. His first game back, 2 home runs. Immediate presence felt.
18 games, 17 runs driven in, 6 homers, and 4 doubles. Kang, the first player to go directly from the Korean League into Major League Baseball. There's a strike.
He's such a good player, though. He actually played shortstop when Jordy Mercer went down. Gave them the ability to move him around. Josh Harrison played a little third. Sean Rodriguez played some first and third. Gave them such flexibility to have that bat still in the lineup and then have him be able to fill in at shortstop.
2-1 pitch. Right field, not well hit, and it's going to fall. Gillespie has it, runner around third. Freese coming home, and he is safe. Real Muto with a swipe of the glove, trying to get to the corner of the plate. Freese comes across.
See Real Muto trying to get the tag there. Just a tough angle when you got to get that far out in front of the plate to receive the ball. Takes the catcher out of there. I don't know. He might have a gripe on this though, because that front leg of Freese looked like it was up in the air. I don't know if he got it down before the tag. See, watch it hit there. Now watch it kick up. Oh, that's going to be close. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to overturn that. Yeah.
I think you're right. I don't know that there's enough to overturn it.
Worth taking a look at, though.
It was. I guess the question would be for Real Muto in receiving the throw, could he have received it any deeper than he did?
That's possible, but maybe because the throw's coming from right field, the reason why he's out there so far is the angle of the throw. So I think the accuracy of the throw actually took him out front. See, if you look on a direct line from the thrower to where it's caught, that ball's actually up the third base line. I think he did the best he could with trying to stay in his home area and make that play.
Now Marte fouls it back to the screen. So the Pirates strike first.
You know, and I'm a former outfielder, so I'm a little bit more critical when it comes to that. That's just got to be a slightly more accurate throw from Cole Gillespie, and I understand he was just trying to get rid of it quickly. David Freese did a great job of recognizing that ball was going to fall off the bat. So that play was really made by David Freese.
Nicolino gets a strike. It's 0-2 on Marte. Marte may be the most dynamic player the Pirates have, and that's saying something in a lineup that's got Andrew McCutchen and Gregory Polanco. 16 doubles, 17 stolen bases, a 362 on base, and a 471 slug. Fastball misses in from Nicolino, and of course Marte can really play left field. He won his first Gold Glove out there last year, knocking Christian Yelich off the mantelpiece. Yelich won the Gold Glove for left field in 2014.
Marte is, in a word, dynamic. It's the speed that he possesses, the range that he covers out there in left field is pretty impressive. And you talk about the Pirates outfield in Pittsburgh, that left center gap is really deep, and he patrols that as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Marte pulls it just beyond the reach of our cameraman down there, John Tuitu, who is in the Memorial Day spirit. He's got the flag on his camera, and of course, what shirt is he wearing? Very nice. It's a nice touch. A different college shirt every night. You never know what you're going to find, but a military theme tonight for sure. That's a foul ball. Well, Marte is 27 out of the Dominican Republic. You see the career highs he set last year, and the way he's rolling right now, he's going to put up big numbers this year. And he leads Major League Baseball in the last 3 years in getting hit by pitch.
He's willing to stay in there, but what I like about him is I feel like he's just starting to really reach his potential. He's going to be a 20 home run guy. He's going to steal 30 bases for the next couple of years or so. I think the stolen bases are going to go down, but that's just as an effect of getting older and trying to protect yourself a little more. When you're young and got all that good energy, you can steal all those bases. You have to become a little bit more judicious with it later in your career. But I think the power is going to be there, the average is going to be there, and I don't see the defense dropping off at all.
That one out to right. Gillespie is under it, and he makes the catch. Bang, bang, play at the plate. Pirates get a run. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh. Pirates here, first of 4, 1-0 Pittsburgh. Miami's lineup tonight brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Well, here come your fighting fish. Adeiny Hechavarria's at the top today. Martin Prado second. Christian Yelich is third. Nice to see him back out there a little bit more consistently. Marcell Ozuna, who has been the everything in the Marlins lineup, is hitting cleanup. JT Realmuto, Chris Johnson are 5 and 6. Cole Gillespie, Miguel Rojas are 7 and 8. Justin Nicolino gets a start, and he is in the 9 hole.
Well, you've got very similar starters in this ball game. Jeff Locke, lefty, 28. Not an overpowering guy. 32 strikeouts, 24 walks. This is his 10th start. So the strikeout walk numbers are similar in terms of per 9 innings for both Locke and Nicolino. Adeiny Hechavarria leads it off. He takes outside with Martin Prado and Christian Yelich to follow. Marlins lineup affected in a couple of ways. Giancarlo Stanton hit on the field for the 2nd straight day, but not in the lineup. Hechavarria bangs one into center field. He's aboard. Marlins have their leadoff man on before Prado gets comfortable. Time to meet the Pirates. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Dynamic. You use that word, Preston Wilson. You can describe Starling Marte, Andrew McCutchen, and Gregory Polanco with that word. David Freese, Jung Ho Kang on the corners. Josh Harrison, Sean Rodriguez, a Miami native, up the middle. Francisco Cervelli, coming off a career year, is behind home plate. Merritt Island, Florida. That's the hometown of Clint Hurdle, who was a star quarterback in high school and recruited heavily by the University of Miami. Of course, a high draft pick, signed with the Kansas City Royals. Has done an incredible job with the Pirates. This is his 6th year. In 2013, when the Pirates got to the postseason, it ended a long postseason drought. 20 consecutive losing seasons before that 2013 year. Locke has 1 pickoff this year. Echeverria, not really a stolen base threat. He's at first with Prado at the plate.
Oh, Clint Hurdle was my manager in Colorado. And one of the things that he has is the ability to appeal to all players. He was the next superstar. He had the Sports Illustrated cover before he played in the big leagues. You know, he was the next George Brett. Then he went from being that to a guy that's in a supporting role, a guy who's just got to find at bats here and there. So he went through all the stages from superstar to bench guy, and I think he's able to relate to everybody on his roster.
Prado pops it up first base side, and it's going to wander out of play.
And it's amazing because the relationship that Clint Hurdle and I went even further back than that. When he came over to the Mets in the 80s, my dad was on the team, so I saw him come in, and that was after Kansas City, after he was, you know, the next budding everything. And then he came in and was a role player there, so I knew him from that. And then to have him as my manager, you know, is one of the kind of neat things in life that's kind of happened to me.
So he snapped a couple of long droughts. The World Series drought is the one everyone's hoping gets snapped this year. The division, of course, is nails. Cardinals seem to be down a bit, but certainly not the Cubs. The Cubs are roaring. 6.5 games, despite Pittsburgh being 7 over. The last World Series was 1979, 36 years ago. That has 2 written all over it. Rodriguez gets an out, and Prado bounces into a double play.
The NL Central is such a deep division. You're talking about the 3 top teams in Chicago, Pittsburgh, St. Louis. They were potentially 3 100-win teams in that division last year. They came within 2 or 3 games of having 3 teams have 100 wins in the same division.
Here now is Yelich. Yelich takes the ball. When people ask, are the Marlins affected by the absence of Dee Gordon? Derek Dietrich's been outstanding. But the running game has come to an absolute screeching halt. It's been 16 games since the Marlins have a stolen base. And in those 16 games, they've only attempted 2. And that last sequence is a great example. You get a leadoff hit from Echeverria. Although Etch can run a bit, he's not a base stealer. Prado bounces into a double play. And here's Yelich with 2 outs and nobody on. That's where the Marlins, I believe, miss Gordon the most, is in that run game. On to first. Yelich is out. Jeff Locke, an easy first. Chrysler is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. 1-0 Pirates a run. Jung Ho Kang drives in his 18th run in his 19th game. Fans here tonight, the Marlins really had to scramble to get ready for these two games with the Pirates and the Marlins scheduled to play in Puerto Rico. It was less than a month ago that Major League Baseball decided that the risks were too great. They would not go to Puerto Rico because of the Zika virus. And so what was supposed to be just a little two-game series, a Wednesday and a Thursday here, suddenly became 4 games. And as we talked about, a soccer match, a friendly here last night. Marlins Park Group had to turn this field around. And they did a nice job at that. But at the same time, Preston, none of these tickets were included in the season ticket sales.
We're not supposed to be here right now.
No.
Like that's pretty much the whole sentiment of everybody in this whole deal right now. We are here by default.
That one pulled foul. I will say this, though. Happy to be here tonight. I mean, anytime you get to come to a ball game, put on a nice bright tie, and watch the Pirates and the Marlins, it's not a bad way to spend your holiday weekend. A lot of fans, when this was added to the schedule, figured, you know what? It's a good night to be at the ballpark.
I do enjoy putting on a suit. I do.
Yes, you do. You wear it well. Francisco Cervelli, Gregory Polanco, Sean Rodriguez. For the Pirates, who dropped 2 in Texas this weekend. Nicolino misses low and in. Cervelli, the Pirates, a bit of a gamble in turning over their starting catcher job to him last year, because he had not had any body of work that said he could last a full season. But he did 130 games, and man, he had a really nice year, filling the Russell Martin void, who had departed for Toronto. Cervelli, 295, 370, 401 slash line, 17 doubles, 7 homers.
You know, sometimes guys get saddled with a label, not an everyday player. And at some point, the player plays beyond that, but it takes the organization to realize that some of those old reports aren't valid anymore. This guy is an everyday player.
It's a 4-game series. That means tomorrow. And what a matchup tomorrow. Jose Fernandez, Garrett Cole tomorrow night. Big discounts with the Steals and Deals offer. Go to Marlins.com today, and you can get in on that. 7:10 starts. Discounted tickets in most seating categories for Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole, Pirates and Fish. Here is Gregory Polanco. In wandering the halls of Marlins Park, you almost expect to see a portrait of Gregory Polanco. I know he's young, but man, whenever he shows up here, he has big numbers. Career versus the Marlins, 419, a homer and 10 runs driven in. Last year the Pirates took 3 of 4. The year before, Polanco also had a big series. So in 6 games, a 500 average, a homer and 5 RBIs, 14 total hits.
The scary thing about that is the power is going to go up because he's not a leadoff guy anymore. He's not thinking with a leadoff mentality.
Nicolino, good location.
That's where he wants it, up there. See him sitting up there and he hits the target right in stride. Very nice. Get yourself that easy out. That's when you attack the weakness and you actually put the ball on target. You get those kind of results.
Sean Rodriguez now, the 31-year-old. Braddock High School here in Miami.
That hurts so bad. Oh, I don't miss that, Rich. And then you got like some smart guy on the bench yelling, "Call a tow truck." And you're like, really? That's all I need to hear right now. I just pounded my heel into my shoe.
You're right about Rodriguez, who plays everywhere. His dad, Johnny, a minor league manager. Last year he played all 4 infield spots, left field and right field.
He's somewhat taken what Josh Harrison did at the beginning of his career with Pittsburgh. Josh Harrison had to play around, find himself in the lineup, but made himself very valuable with his versatility.
Well, anytime you say versatile for a player over the last 6-7 years, the one team that jumps out, the Tampa Bay Rays, they have thrived on that. Ben Zobrist, of course, probably the best of those. And Rodriguez spent 5 years with the Rays, so he was their kind of guy. It's a pretty good pitch and a swing. Marvin Hudson, the first base umpire, rings up Sean Rodriguez. A bit perplexed. Marcell Ozuna, hottest hitter in baseball in May. Coming up next.
Y es presentado a ustedes por Kendall Toyota y West Kendall Toyota.
One nothing. Pirates on top. The Pirates, the Marlins in Miami for 4. And you have noticed, if you've been watching this game, that both teams are wearing special design caps and jerseys. That's a digital camo, which is a design that is actually licensed from the United States Marine Corps in honor of Memorial Day. Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Advanced Media, as Ozuna takes the ball outside, will donate 100% of the net proceeds from sales of U.S.-based clubs, caps, and jerseys. That's going to the Welcome Back Veterans charity, 100% of the net proceeds. Ozuna, left field, didn't get it all. And Marte runs it down.
Yeah, he missed that one. The swing was on plane, but he didn't quite get it. Sounded like the bat actually broke on that. I want to see if maybe Locke may have taken a little bit off of this. Yet he got it right off the end. a guy like Jeff Locke, he's going to get you in some hitters counts, but he'll also give you that dead fish BP fastball where it's not his full miles per hour fastball to get you to hit it off the end, just like Ozuna did right there. See him sitting there? He's like, he made me reach for it. Yeah. Just a little, that's another thought just to keep in your back pocket later in the game. Like, this guy's going to play with me a little bit, so I got to stay steady.
Here's Real Muto now. The Marlins and the Pirates are very good at hitting left-handed starters. In fact, the Fish have the best average in the National League at 291. The Pirates are second at 280. Martin Prado is on that list. The problem for both is they haven't faced a lot of lefties this year. The Pirates actually faced 2 in the Texas series. They are 6-3 against lefty starters. There's the averages. The Marlins have only faced 8, and those are the 2 lowest figures in baseball for facing left-handed pitchers, starters. Miami is 7-1. The Pirates are 6-3. Now the Pirates number is going to rocket up this series because they're going to see 3 lefties for the Marlins. Obviously Justin Nicolino getting the start tonight. It's a Jose Fernandez start tomorrow against Garrett Cole. Then Adam Conley and Wei-Yin Chen finish off the series. Marlins will see another lefty. Jonathan Neese, the former Met, goes on Wednesday against Conley. Liner to right, and that's right at Polanco, who makes the catch.
Let's take a look at Jeff Locke. Get the scouting report on him. A native of the Granite State, born in New Hampshire. And speaking of rocks, that sinker that he throws is like a bowling ball. Guys have a hard time elevating the ball against him with that heavy 2-seamer. Ray Searage has done a good job retooling his delivery, so that's the work in progress, getting him to be more efficient with his motion, consistent delivery.
Diving stop. Gung on his feet. Chris Johnson robbed of a hit. Locke's not really fooling many. Couple of line drive outs. Ozuna warning track shot. Pirates have a 1-0 lead.
Country playing baseball, and they give me the opportunity to be here, and I'm really proud of every guy or every woman doing the sacrifice for us.
Memorial Day weekend comes to a close on a Monday night. Marlins and Pirates. Lefty on lefty here. Nicolino and Locke with Josh Harrison, Andrew McCutchen, Pirates got a run in the first, a 2-out rally, a double by David Freese, chased home on a single by Jung Ho Kang. And may I say at this point again, how much fun it is to hear Jim Joyce call balls and strikes.
I mean, it's so much fun to hear him, but you got to think about 1/10 of his salary goes to throw lozenges.
One of the very good umpires and very good guys in the game.
A strike call is never in question when he's in the building.
Josh Harrison with Andrew McCutchen here in the third. Strike one and strike two, I think, sound better than strike three. End of the bat, Echeverria, outfield grass, and Harrison is very fast and he beats it.
And let's be honest, this play shouldn't even been this close. This is an incredible effort by Echeverria, not only to glove it, but to get the throwaway that quickly and actually make a play. I'm always in awe of Echeverria's body control.
Hear the sound of that? Now here is where the Pirates get rolling. 95 stolen bases, or excuse me, 37 stolen bases. That would be a huge total.
I was going to say, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's their double total, actually. 37 stolen bases. That's second in the National League, though. Only Milwaukee has stolen more bases. And Harrison has swiped 7. Marte has stolen 17. Polanco has stolen 7. So the Pirates can run and they can hit. They're first in average, second in on base, fourth in slugging.
The difference between Pittsburgh and Milwaukee, though, is Milwaukee runs because they have to. They don't have that deep of a lineup. Pittsburgh runs because they want to. They can produce runs without stealing bases. They just like putting pressure on you, using their athleticism.
And this Pirate team is doing it a little differently than last year. And last year, the Pirates won 98 games. They had the second lowest ERA and a great bullpen ERA. Those pitching numbers aren't there yet this year for the Pirates, so it's an offensive-minded team. McCutchen, a high pop-up. Outfield grass, it's Rojas, and he makes the catch. So 2 outs. A reminder, this telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. And here is Freese. Freese now 33. Was raised in suburban St. Louis, Wildwood, Missouri. If you've forgotten his story, he was an outstanding high school player who was recruited to play at Missouri, but was disillusioned with the game and actually gave up baseball and spent a year just going to school and partying at Missouri. Didn't like the way that felt and decided to give baseball another try and ended up in South Alabama. And of course, if you follow the National League and baseball in general, you know he was that star of that 2011 postseason, including the World Series, and that comeback win in the series over the Rangers. Runner goes, pitches a strike, throw not in time, and not much of a chance for Real Buto. Harrison swipes his 8th bag.
That's why this team is so dangerous. Almost up and down that lineup. They're in scoring position because everybody in that lineup has the potential to steal a base, maybe with the exception of Cervelli. They're good base runners. They're smart base runners. They're opportunistic base runners.
Freese doubled off the wall in right. Sends another one to right. This one in the corner and foul. Yeah, for the Pirates, catching the Cardinals has been an issue. This year, it's the Cubs who are in front of them. Clint Hurdle and the Bucks would like to avoid the wild card game. They've been in it the last 3 years, and the last 2 years, they have not been able to get out of that wild card game. Of course, they ran into Jake Arrieta last year in the Cubs and Madison Bumgarner in the Giants. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Harrison coming home. Yelich has it, and there'll be no throw. And the Pirates using their speed. That stolen base setting up an RBI single by David Freese.
This is Pittsburgh Pirates do put pressure on you, but this is a pitch that has to be made better by Nicolino. That's an 0-2 pitch. You got the batter at a serious deficit, and you give him that good of a pitch to hit. Just got to make a better pitch than that. And a base runner like Harrison, he's moving on contact, so he's going to score on that ball almost every time.
Jung Ho Kang now. RBI hit to right. Well,
that's what's left of Josh Harrison there on the bench. Yeah.
I believe he's joshing. Pitch misses in. Count 2-0. Kang's emergence gave the Pirates the ability to part ways with Neil Walker, which was hard to do. The favorite son of Pittsburgh. His father a Pirate. Walker growing up in that area. And of course the Mets have been quite happy with his addition as he replaces Daniel Murphy, who moved on over to Washington. It's been a busy 3 innings for Rick Sofield, the third base coach of the Pirates. Yeah, maybe the fan using the hat on a tough one hopper, maybe on a pop-up, but not on a tough one hopper.
Nah, you're gonna lose that hat.
Well, the Pirates have accomplished a couple things. He did get the ball, though. Do you think he's going to tell everybody that he didn't catch it, that that it ate him alive, and then he picked it up after it stopped rolling?
He's going to say he made a great play on a foul ball. That's what he's going to tell everybody. And he's got the souvenir to prove it. So, yeah. But for that effort, he gets the foul. Look at that. Seriously, you don't get to tell anybody what you did when you make that face when the ball's coming at you.
Nicolino gets a strikeout, and the inning is over. But the Pirates add another and lead it 2-0.
Pirates leading the Marlins 2-0 through 2.5 innings of play. Here's some injury updates for the Marlins. And pretty much good news, I think. First, Giancarlo Stanton took full batting practice today here at Marlins Park, starting to feel it. That right side soreness. He has not started a game since a week ago Tuesday. That was the last game of the homestand here. Don Mattingly told me today he could be available to pinch hit as soon as tonight, if not tomorrow. Should be back during the series. That's what they're hoping for, at least. And as Cole Gillespie stands in here for the Marlins, we'll tell you about Derek Dietrich, who was involved in that crazy incident yesterday where he had the great game and then got hit with the ball off the bat of Yelich in the 9th inning. Today, Brian Morris having a little fun with it. As Dietrich feeling much better. The hard act for Dietrich. Dietrich stayed in Atlanta last night with Marlins trainer Dustin Lupker. He kept an eye on his vitals. All the signs were good. No concussion, and he is available to come off the bench if necessary. One other note, too. I ran into owner Jeffrey Loria today, who told me that he diverted his plane from New York, picked up Mr. Dietrich in Atlanta. So he had to avoid and was able to avoid a little bit of the traffic that you might get on a holiday, and got him here well in time for the afternoon activities at the ballpark. Guys?
All right, thank you, Craig. Miami third. Cole Gillespie, Miguel Rojas, Justin Nicolino. Into center field. That's a base hit for Gillespie. And so the Marlins have their leadoff hitter on for the second time.
Well, Gillespie's making the most out of an opportunity. He started off the season slow, had spared at bats, got it going last week. In his last 2 starts, he had 2 hits in each of his last 2 starts. Starting to get a little bit more comfortable.
Now Rojas getting the start at second. In all likelihood, Derek Dietrich would not be in the lineup tonight against Jeff Locke. And Justin Bour also getting the night off with a right-handed look to this lineup. Fastball up. Rojas got a start yesterday, was 0 for 4 with an RBI. Ball and a strike. Jeff Locke has been in the Pirates rotation for a while now. He was an all-star actually in 2013. Originally an Atlanta Braves draft pick. And as you pointed out, Preston, in the Sky Report, he's from New Hampshire. Rojas to center, McCutchen full flight, and he slides in and makes the catch. Well, the outfield is not only dynamic at the plate, but in the field. Marte has run down a shot at the warning track, and now McCutchen steals a hit.
I mean, he's coming in a blur. They're so good. They cover so much ground. It's just fun to watch for me. You know, when you appreciate good outfield play, because it's something that can go overlooked. But the jumps these guys get, their routes to the ball, is very impressive.
Nicolino shortening to bunt, and he takes outside. Gillespie's at first. 2-0 Pirates. The state of New Hampshire is not necessarily known for great baseball players. Locke is from North Conway, New Hampshire. But there are some interesting names, and most of the names are pitchers. The best of which, Chris Carpenter. The
pretty good one.
The late Mike Flanagan. Bob Tewksbury. Also had
some big names.
Very nice career. Yeah, those 3 pitchers from New Hampshire. Rich Gale.
Okay.
And then some other guys, not stars. Sam Fuld, Kevin Romine, Phil Plantier, and Joe LaFave.
Kevin Romine has got a son in the big leagues right now, doesn't he? Or is that Kevin Romine? His dad played in the big leagues. I know there's a family connection here with the Romines.
That's a double play. On a bunt attempt, Justin Nicolino. That's a heads-up play by the Pirates. 5-6-4 on the double play.
Our fallen warriors. An avid outdoor sportsman, Jonathan Gibson enlisted in the Navy and dedicated himself to becoming a pilot. After being commissioned as an officer, Jonathan joined Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 6 and was deployed to the Middle East. But in 2013, Jonathan was killed when his Nighthawk helicopter went down in the Red Sea. Fox Sports honors Navy Chief Warrant Officer 3, Jonathan Gibson.
This holiday weekend reaching its final day, Memorial Day. Marlins and Pirates. Here in Miami, it's a 4-gamer. Wednesdays, game 3 of the series. And of course, on Wednesdays, kids eat free. Every child 12 and under gets a free KMB Frank, bag of Frito-Lay chips, small Pepsi or Aquafina water. So a 7:10 start on Wednesday. There's a Pirate fan. He's got the digital camo going.
Well, in our mention of the Granite Staters, we talked about Kevin Romine last inning. He actually has 2 sons. One is a catcher, Austin, for the New York Yankees, and Andrew plays for the Detroit Tigers. So the Romine family is being well represented.
Derek Dietrich is at second base.
Okay.
That one's fouled off. So immediately with Dietrich at second base, you go back and look to see if there was a play or something that Miguel Rojas was involved in. Rojas, in his at bat in the 3rd, lined out to center. He had a ground ball from Polanco in the 2nd and a pop fly from McCutchen in the 3rd. So Dietrich is in the ballgame. Into right field. That's a base hit. So a hit for Marte. Stolen base threat is on. Let's go back and look at the Rojas at bat. We watched the catch by McCutchen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Something happened there where there's some discomfort in the right arm or right shoulder with Rojas. And there's a lot of grimacing going on there. We're so caught up in the great play by Andrew McCutchen that we lost sight of, you know, the body language and what was going on with Miguel Rojas.
So a base hit for Marte. Here's Cervelli. Another look at the Rojas swing. Boy, that right arm just dangling.
Yeah, he knows it too. As a player, when something goes on in there, you know it. And there's nobody more upset than him. You know, get a chance to play it, get injured in the game.
Marte runs, pitches a ball, throw by Real Muto, safe. Dietrich with the tag. Marte has stolen base number 18, and he's only been caught 3 times. The Pittsburgh trainer's on his way out. It's a nice effort by Dietrich on the pick. And then the tag. You know, if the tag is on him, the Marlins are looking at this replay. If we could see that first look again, if the tag stayed on his arm, his hand did come off the bag. Watch the hand. Look. It's on the arm.
Oh. Could be. You see the ball still in the glove. There was some time when the hand came off the base before the leg got on the base.
And the Marlins are going to review this. All right, this is a little better angle. Let's make sure the ball stays in the glove. Hands off, ball's on him.
It's there.
Another look, a different angle. Our first look at this angle. Let's see if the glove is on him long enough.
I was a head-first slider.
Oh, it sure appears so. It sure appears like the glove is on the arm when it comes off. The hand comes off the bag.
I was a head-first slider when I stole bases, but that's one of the things you do have to be aware of is the middle infielders who drop that foot in front of the bag that you're going to end up sliding into. And sometimes when you're trying to avoid that leg, now it takes your hand off the bag before the rest of your body can make contact with it.
Well, Marte, the trainer has left Marte at second. Marlins looked at it for a while. The call on the field is safe at second. And he's out. So Marte is out. That's a big call and a nice play by Dietrich. Remember, he had to make a pick on the backhand side and then sweep the tag to keep it on and get the out.
You know, he did a good job of keeping that left leg near the bag to give the base runner an obstacle to have to work around, and then was able to apply the tag. I mean, that's fresh off the bench.
So the Marlins win that challenge, get the out. Cervelli's at the plate. Nicolino throws a strike that counts 3-1. Cervelli of Italian descent, raised in Venezuela. Both his parents born in Italy. One fouled out of play. The count 3-2. Spent 7 years with the Yankees and appeared in just 250 games. And a lot of that wasn't because he wasn't good enough. It was because he was hurt. He had injury issues. Look at the pitching matchup for tomorrow night. Jose Fernandez, Garrett Cole.
If you like young, confident right-handers that throw the baseball really hard, might be a game you want to check out.
Count it 3-2. Pirates single runs in the first and in the third. Into the right field corner. Gillespie ventures in. And it's out of his reach. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering about Giancarlo Stanton, he did hit for the second straight day on the field. Don Mattingly would not rule out using him as a pinch hitter tonight. Now the Marlins have been operating, and it's hard on a manager in the National League when you manage with a short bench, and Don Mattingly's had to do that for almost a week. High fly ball. Yelich shy of the track, and he makes the catch. In fact, for a while there, Don Mattingly was down 2 players. Yelich was out, Stanton was out. Well, of course, Yelich is back, Stanton is not, and tonight Miguel Rojas has left the game with what looked like a right arm injury, and that's being vague because he ran off the field dragging that right arm as if something on that arm was in a good deal of pain. There's Polanco. He takes down low. Craig, you talked to Don Mattingly about having to manage with a short bench.
Not easy. He talked about dealing with Stanton as the way he dealt with Yelich. The Marlins have seen progress, and therefore, because you can get to a spot, as you know, where if you're going to go 10, 11, 12 days, you might as well just DL a guy. But that hasn't been the case with Yelich. You saw what the Marlins did. Kind of let him rest for a while, get him back slowly, a little BP, get him in the ball game, pinch hitting, and now he's back. And I think the same scenario is what Don Mattingly's looking for from Giancarlo, as you mentioned, Rich. A couple of days in a row batting practice. Maybe he'll get a pinch hit tonight or tomorrow, and I think we'll see him back in the lineup if everything progresses by Wednesday. But there is a spot in this National League where if you're going to miss, 10 days or 11, sometimes you DL him and get him back in 15.
Well, certainly it doesn't make it easy, especially when you're facing a team like the Pirates, who roll in here 7 over. Nicolino on a comebacker. That play at second, a key play in the inning. Still 2-0 Pirates. It's greater coverage of baseball. How about the Royals? Despite losing 3 All-Stars to injuries, they vault back into first in the Central with 3 come-from-behind wins over the White Sox. Kershaw last night didn't get the win, but you know, just 10 strikeouts and no walks. He might be the pitcher of the month in May. Jose will have a say in that as he goes tomorrow night. Steven Strasburg, Nationals are 15-0 in his last 15 starts. Second crack at Jeff Locke for Miami. A couple of base hits, some line drive outs, but no runs. Locke catches the corner. Strike to Echeverria. Echeverria singled in the first, but then perished at second on a double play ball from Martin Prado. Shallow left. Rodriguez is out there and makes the catch. And Locke has an out. Locke has looked really good in his last 2 starts, beating Atlanta and Arizona.
That Locke has been really good. Hitters getting these aggressive counts, 2-0, 3-1. He's pulling the string on them just a little bit, taking a little velocity off, getting some easy outs.
Martin Prado. Do you play any of the baseball video games like MLB 16 or?
You know what's crazy? I used to play baseball video games before I played baseball.
Because if I don't, there's a roller to short. But I would think the voice of the umpire has to be Jim Joyce.
That's right? A great call. Yeah, that's a guy I would want on my video game. Yeah.
But if you could choose any umpire,
yeah, in
baseball, he would be the guy.
For once, I would just like to hear a batter, like when he makes that big strike call. Excuse me, what was that? Like I didn't hear you.
Here's Yelich now.
Got a serious stash too.
Yes, he does. Yelich bounced to second. Yelich coming into play with a on-base percentage, which has him in the top 10 at 414, 510 with the slugging percentage. And I'm sure some of you hear those numbers and you say, well, is that good or bad? The average on-base percentage in the National League right now is 321. The average slugging percentage is 405. So yeah, those are good. Any on-base percentage of 345 and up is considered good. You're over 400, you're really doing well. And any slugging percentage in the low 400s, 420 and up, means that you are doing some damage. The average batting average in the National League is 252. So Yelich well above all 3 of those. Rodriguez up to get it, and robs Yelich of a hit. Jeff Locke shutting out Miami, getting some help from his defense. The Marlins and the Pirates have played 4 innings. It's 2-0 Pittsburgh right now.
Está disponible en español a través del SAP y es presentado a ustedes por Kendall Toyota y West Kendall Toyota.
In Miami, Justin Nicolino, Sean Rodriguez center field, well hit. Ozuna at the track makes the catch. One pitch, one out for Nicolino here in the fifth. In honor of Memorial Weekend, Fox Sports is teaming up with Merging Vets and Players. It's dedicated to ensuring our nation's warriors can be as productive off the field as they were on it by joining combat veterans with former athletes to form a common bond over dedication and teamwork. Visit foxsportsupports.com to learn more. Jeff Locke takes a couple. Jim Joyce, 1, 2, 3, just like that. And so there are 2 outs here in the fifth. Josh Harrison coming to the plate. Tomorrow night, the evening starts at 6:30 with the Marlins Live. It's brought to you by South Florida Honda dealers. Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine are not the headliners, though they are entertaining. On an email and Twitter Tuesday, it's Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole who will go at each other on a Jose day. Josh Harrison is 1 for 2. Nicolino giving up a run in the first and a run in the third. He was on pace to blow through his pitch count in 5 innings. Diving catch. That's Prado.
He looks pretty pleased with himself on that one. So, yeah, I got that one.
Prado with the catch and the flip. And a 1-2-3 quick inning. 6 pitches for Nicolino. All-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. By Checkers, fast foodies know the deal, and by USAA, for those who gave everything that we may breathe free, we honor you. Two 2-0 Pirates on top, bottom 5. Jeff Locke, whose nickname in high school was the Redstone Rocket. Ozuna, center field. McCutchen just shy of the track makes the catch. Ozuna's hit a couple to the warning track, one in left and one in center. And Locke just keeps getting outs with a pitch count at a tiny 46 right now.
What a guy like Locke can do. He doesn't overpower you with anything. You feel like you can hit anything that comes out of his hand, so you end up swinging at his pitches. Guys like that, you really have to focus in a little bit more, because they'll give you that comfortable 0 for 4 where you go back home and you're like, man, I don't feel like he had anything to get me out, but yet you go home with no hits and 4 ABs.
He has the Loch Ness Monster.
I like that.
See that on the glove?
Loch Ness.
There's a story behind that. Obviously his last name is Locke, but apparently in 8th grade he had to do a report on a state. So he picked his home state, and as a joke he threw in the report that the Loch Ness Monster lived in Conway Lake. But in 8th grade, he said, he and his buddies, and especially back then, had yet to discover Google. So there were a lot of kids that believed it. Counts 2-2. And so he put that on his glove in high school and then through the minors. Wilson has stitched it on his glove in the majors. See that?
That's good stuff.
And I'm reading that from a Pittsburgh Post-Gazette article.
See, I'm a little bit left-handed myself, so I get it. I get that.
2-2. Tell you what, he has been dazzling tonight. That's his first strikeout. But he's allowed just 2 singles on the night. Wednesday, of course, Marlins and Pirates. That's also a Chevron Crazy 8 Wednesday. Fill up your car with Chevron with Techron gasoline. Bring your receipt to the Marlins Park ticket office to choose between 2 Lexus Legends level tickets or 1 home plate box ticket for just $28. Chris Johnson robbed of a hit on a great play by Jung Ho Kang. The Redstone Rocket. High pop off of Johnson's bat. Freeze with room makes the catch. 10-pitch inning. Loch Ness Monster indeed.
It's nice to have one day that just a reminder of what they've done for our country, the sacrifice they've made. It's nothing we should ever take for granted, and it's a special day, and it's an honor to wear this hat.
Happy Memorial Day, and thank you for all that have served. both to you and your families. This Monday in South Florida, Pittsburgh has a 2-0 lead. Jeff Locke has been spectacular for the Pirates. He's faced the minimum through 5, given up a couple hits. Justin Nicolino single runs in the 1st and the 3rd, but has retired 5 straight. Teeth of the order for the Pirates: McCutchen, Freese, Gung. Andrew McCutchen is bounced out, popped down. Jose Urena in Miami's bullpen. Nicolino right at 80 pitches. One of the things you have to consider when you're playing the Pirates is you don't want to get to the 7th inning and be down to Clint Hurdle's ball club, because that's when the strength of that bullpen kicks in. Foul ball. Mark Melancon is well known around baseball. 2-time All-Star, Pirates closer. He was only 51 of 53 in saves last year. But the 7th and the 8th inning are eaten up by Neftali Feliz and Tony Watson. And usually when the game gets to those guys and they've got a lead, they're really good at holding it. Changeup fouled at the plate. And Feliz in the 7th has given up a hit just twice in the last 22 at bats. Watson has made 11 straight scoreless appearances. Of course, you have Melancon, the 2-time All-Star.
Yeah, Melancon, kind of like A.J. Ramos, is one of those rare closers that's a 3 or 4 pitch guy. Not necessarily overpowering with the fastball, but is willing to throw anything in any count, totally unpredictable, and has confidence in every pitch he has in his arsenal.
Well, he finally got one fair, didn't he? I mean, McCutchen kept banging him foul. This one he shoots into left field for a hit. And the pride of Fort Meade, Florida, is aboard.
Such a short stroke for a guy that possesses power. That's why he's able to hit for the high average.
Ford drives Twitter Tuesday. On a Jose day, that's the hashtag. That's tomorrow night. Pirates and Marlins, 6:30 start. Won't you join us?
The meeting on the mound from Nicolino and Real Muto.
Do you think the Marlins want Nicolino to face Freese? And just as I say that, Don Mattingly pops out of the dugout, and the answer is no.
I'm going to say Freese has had 2 really good at-bats against Nicolino. I think if you make the move, you make it here.
Freese doubled and scored in the 1st. RBI single in the 3rd. He hasn't pointed to the bullpen yet. I think he's just buying a little time.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody in the ballpark knew this was coming. David Freese is 2 for 2 off Nicolino.
So a 5-inning effort for Justin Nicolino. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen.
spirited discourse. Nicolino definitely wanted to still be in the game. Pitch count wasn't up. You know, even though David Freese had 2 good at-bats against him, he felt like he could get the job done. And you gotta like that. You gotta like that spirit in your starting young pitchers.
So Urena gets David Freese. And you got right-handed bats stacked up. Freese, Skung, Marte, Cervelli, until you get to Polanco. As well, you've got McCutchen at first, though it's not been a great year for running for McCutchen. He's just 1 for 3 in stolen bases.
No, but when you're a stolen base guy, you just keep trying to find your keys, trusting what you see, because there's going to be some times where catchers just make great throws against you. It happens. You run into a streak like that.
Fastball up to Freese. 8 doubles. He's driven in 17. And his bat heating up. Homered in Texas yesterday.
If you're going to pitch to David Freese, that's where you have to pitch him. He's so good at staying on the ball away, driving the ball in the right center. You have to pitch him inside to keep him honest.
That one came in, and it's 2-1. So this battle of the lefties, at least on the Marlins end, has turned right-handed with Urena. McCutchen a leadoff hit. He's at first. Freese again to right field. Gillespie gets a piece of it. It kicks towards center. Freese is on his way to second, and he is in there with a double. And the Pirates are set up now at second and third, and nobody out.
Aggressive effort by Cole Gillespie. David Freese again showing that he will stay on the ball, drive it to right field. That is his pattern. That's what he does. Cole Gillespie tries to make the play. Unfortunately, it's scooted towards center field. That's, as an outfielder, that's one of those plays you ideally want to just try to play it like a goalie and try to keep it in front of you, but the effort was there. Unfortunately, the ball just bounced away from it.
Busted bat, look out.
Wow, that's getting in there. That's about as badly as you can get jammed without actually breaking something on your body.
You know, there's a lot to watch on that play. Out of the corner of my eye, it almost looked like McCutchen tried to make a play on this ball in foul territory. With the bat head headed out there. See if McCutchen shows up in this replay.
That bat just disintegrates.
He did. He tried to backhand the ball. Ball and a strike.
When you saw a guy off that badly, as a hitter, you're saying, please just get it out over the plate, because that hurts when they keep getting in there like that.
1-2. We touched upon it earlier. Gung has been real productive since getting back with the Pirates. This is his 19th game. He drove in his 18th run with that single in the first.
It's hard right now for me to justify throwing him anything other than a fastball.
Breaking ball caught there, Prado. Well, you were right, because he hit it on the button.
That's my point. Why a guy has not gotten the bat hit even close to the front of the zone on your fastball. And you get lucky right here, because you got his bat to the front of the zone with the slider, but you got lucky that this ball was hit right at somebody. This guy had no chance against Urena's fastball. But what do you do? Just because it's so many pitches now, I feel like I got to throw something else. Sometimes you have to be stubborn. Until a guy proves he can hit it, why throw him anything else?
Well, the Marlins are going to walk Marte now. Marte has flied out singles, and you've got Cervelli on deck, who is 0 for 2 with a pair of fly ball outs. So the bags are loaded with 1 out. Thursday night, when this series concludes, it's law enforcement night against the Pirates. 7:10 start on Thursday. Seniors 55 and older can get free tickets with an ID on Senior Free Ticket Thursdays, presented by Wellmax Medical Centers. For more information, go to marlins.com. Juan Nieves in conference. The inning opened with a single from Andrew McCutchen, and Justin Nicolino was given the hook. Jose Urena came in, gave up the double to David Freese, got the line drive out from Jung Ho Kang. An intentional walk to Starling Marte. And here is Cervelli. Cervelli has not homered this year, but he's driven in 20. Infield looking for 2. Johnson even at the bag at first. Slow tapper by Urena. Everybody's safe. The only shot on that ball was if Urena could stop it and then get an out, preferably at home. As it ended up, it got by him, and the Marlins got nothing, and the Pirates get their 3rd run.
Well, you knew the Pirates were going on contact here. This ball just scooched by him. He tries to barehand it. You know, but that's what part of what happens when you fall off the mound and the ball's hit to your opposite side of your follow through. Doesn't have to be hit that hard to get by you.
It's an infield hit and an RBI. 3-0 Pittsburgh. Here is Polanco, who is 0 for 2. We've documented the damage that Polanco has done against the Marlins in this building. It's a night, a rather quiet 0 for 2 with 2 ground ball outs. He is the youngest of these 3 outfielders at just 24.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this kid fills out. He's got a big frame. You got to think when he turns about 28, 29, he's going to be a big man. Throw into that body. I think he's got the potential to be that 25, 30 home run guy, especially with that shorter right field in Pittsburgh.
Pirates have signed him to a somewhat long-term contract, club-friendly contract, buying up his pre-arbitration years. So if Clint Hurdle is still around in 4 or 5 years, when he does reach 28, I'm going to call you, Preston Wilson, and say, drilled right field and deep and gone. And that's exactly what Polanco has done to the Marlins here at Marlins Park.
That looks like 30 home run power to me, Rich. That ball was an absolute missile. Low flying, got out of the ballpark in a hurry. And he knew this as soon as the ball hit the bat. ejected.
And so Ureña goes after Sean Rodriguez. That's, I mean, that Polanco absolutely loves this place. Breaking ball misses outside.
Well, in the words of Ron Burgundy, that escalated in a hurry.
Yeah, well, you're right. And remember, Nicolino started the inning. McCutchen with a base hit that knocked him out of the ball game. Don Mattingly decided to go with the right-hander Ureña, who gave up the freeze double. Bouncer, Ureña knocks it down with his hands and gets the out at first. And you go back to the infield hit by Cervelli that Ureña tried to bare hand as well, and he was off balance on that one. Rather than getting an out, it ended up as an infield hit and an RBI for Cervelli. Polanco's grand slam follows.
The one thing that a lot of great pitchers have in common is they field their position. Talk about the Clayton Kershaws, Madison Bumgarner. They field their position well. Even Jake Arrieta. You can be a power pitcher and still help yourself out defensively.
Two 2-0. So 8 home runs now for Polanco.
One of the Marlins greats, Kevin Brown, fielded his position very well.
Two and two. So not only do the Pirates force the Marlins to go to the bullpen early, but they knock that bullpen around when it arrives. And Ureña strikes out luck. 7-0 now, Pittsburgh. Fernandez takes the ball, takes aim at this Pittsburgh Pirate lineup, which is explosive, as the Marlins have found out tonight. Garrett Cole, the ace of the staff for the Pirates. So a great pitching matchup on tap tomorrow night. 6:30 for Marlins Live. 7:10 first pitch. Seven-game homestand, 4-game series opens tonight for Miami against the Pirates. And the Pirates have opened up this game. Gregory Polanco with a grand slam in the top of this, the 6th inning. All the while, Jeff Locke has been baffling and frustrating and mowing down Marlins. Cole Gillespie, Derek Dietrich, and Justin Nicolino. And that hiccup was because Miguel Rojas was lifted out of the ball game after his last at bat, favoring his right arm up the line. It'll be the first at bat for Derek Dietrich. And so that's another worry for the Marlins tonight, who don't have Giancarlo Stanton in the starting lineup. Now don't have Rojas. McCutchen lines it up, and Gillespie is 1 for 2. Gillespie had a hit in the 3rd. Echeverria had a hit in the 1st. And they were both erased by double plays. And so Locke has faced the minimum through 5 1/3 innings.
He's been really good just keeping the ball off of the fat part of the bat. That's really what pitching is all about. Staying off the sweet spot, and he's done a great job at that tonight.
So here's Dietrich, who had quite the day yesterday. Was 3 for 3, 2-run homer, 2-run double, and then got dinged in the head sitting on the bench. The ball off of Yelich's bat snuck through the entrance of the dugout. It hit off the back wall of the dugout and then hit Dietrich in the back of the head. Dietrich was taken to an Atlanta hospital just to test for a concussion. He was not cut. There was no blood. And he showed no signs of concussion. A spirited directive from Francisco Cervelli. How's this for communication? So there are 2 outs. Locke now. Gets Ichiro.
We laugh at how vocal that communication is, but unfortunately you have to do that, because how many times have we seen a pitcher not cover the base and it cost you a run or cost you some extra base runners? That's just part of a catcher's job, to remind them that after you throw that ball, you are now a participant on defense.
Ichiro takes out. For Ichiro, an 0 for 5 yesterday. He's 1 for his last 22. Pinch Penny bringing you this pinch hitter. And of course, that 1 for 22 comes on the heels of an incredible 12 for 16 run.
I think Ichiro, more than anybody right now on this Marlins team, needs a day off. You know, you don't want to play a guy when he's so hot. You don't want to play him until he goes the other direction. You know, and maybe Ichiro may have a difference of opinion, but I think he's due for a day off.
Little pop, and it's caught there. Jeff Locke is dominant right now. He has set down 12 straights. On this Memorial Day, USAA honors our fallen soldiers.
Token of respect to those that are active and those that are inactive and those fallen casualties, you know, saving us, you know, protecting us and making sure our families are well. So it's definitely the smallest thing we can do to show our gratitude, you know, for everything that they've done for us.
We hope you've had a great holiday weekend. And when Jackson comes out of Miami's bullpen, the Pirates have raced to a 7-0 lead in this one. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, Rich, I figured with the game going 7-zip, let's check in at the Clevelander, where people always seem to have a smile on their face. You can't control the score. We're at the Clevelander, where, of course, they made the big change in the offseason. This fence is now 4 feet shorter, and it really has made a big difference from a view standpoint. If you're in the pool, if you're sitting in these seats, take a look at the view now. The fence is no longer in your way. You can pretty much see over it, and you feel like you're more a part of the ballpark. These guys here, they went to the ball game last year, and these seats, their season ticket, and you like these this year better, huh?
Oh yes, definitely. Having the net with sitting up high, you can take your choice. Down low, protected, or sitting up high and full view.
Lean forward. Let me ask you. So you have home plate seats tonight too?
Yeah, we have home plate seats, and we'd rather be sitting over here with the wall down. It's so much nicer.
Good view. It's in the biz night. They got a lot of specials here as well. The pool's hopping, and don't forget it's Sunday specials as well for families. Yes, sir. You had one more.
I just wanted to say to 2nd Ranger Battalion and all the boys playing and fighting today, hoorah!
Good job. Nice touch. Nice touch on Memorial Day. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Craig. Josh Harrison at the plate. Leadoff man for the Pirates. Andrew McCutchen, David Freese to follow against Edwin Jackson. And down goes Harrison for the first out of the 7th inning.
Oh, Edwin Jackson looked really good at the beginning of the season. He could add some serious depth to this bullpen. He's got the velocity. They've worked on his mechanics to smooth those out a little bit more, get his body working more in sync.
McCutchen takes outside. It really has been a renaissance in Pittsburgh, and obviously Clint Hurdle's been in the middle of it. But the guy that they've built this team around, the guy that had to, you know, start the process is this guy. His 8th year in Pittsburgh. He's enjoyed certainly the last 3 years as a winner after coming up as a youngster out of Fort Meade, Florida. McCutchen's 29. In the last 4 MVP votes, he's been in the top 5 of all of them. You can remember the early years, Preston, when he was, you know, a rookie, 2nd year, 3rd year. He was it. I mean, he was the guy that, you know, teams wouldn't want to let beat him. There really wasn't much of a supporting cast. The Pirates were just starting to reap the benefits of some really good drafts and development. McCutchen left field. Yelich is there. Shoot top grab. And so when you see a player like McCutchen spend those first few years in the big leagues enduring some losing seasons, some significant losing seasons, hang in there, carry himself the way he did, win the MVP award in 2013 and help turn baseball back around in Pittsburgh. That's impressive.
Pride comes from within. You know, you can't put somebody on a winning team and then expect them to be, you know, a player that really takes pride in what he does. Andrew McCutchen is one of those guys that's had that from day one. He did not let his surroundings impact the way he carried himself on the field.
Andrew McCutchen. Just the numbers that he's put up. 5 All-Star games in a row. We talked about the MVP votes. course, winning the Roberto Clemente Award. In Pittsburgh, and that's the award that goes to the player in Major League Baseball that has the best service to his community. 2-2 pitch. Freeze on a couple of hops. Prado plays it across the diamond, catch and a tag. Chris Johnson helping out at first base. And Edwin Jackson, a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 7th. Throughout baseball on this Memorial Day, the 7th inning stretch is complete with God Bless America. And here in South Florida, the Marlins and the Pirates opening up this 4-game set on Memorial Day. We too pause.
God bless America. Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. Yeah, God bless America, my home sweet home.
Let's hear it.
It's a 7-gamer. It starts tonight. JetBlue presents these pictures. Snappy music. Bobbleheads. Flamingo. Fish. Taste of Miami. The Mets arrive. Hey, the Clevelanders hopping this weekend on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's game is a 4 o'clock start. Busy weekends. Then the Marlins are back out on the roads. Tonight, the Pirates offense has been impressive, and Jeff Locke has been outstanding. Sean Rodriguez on to first. A lot of that ground ball, shortstop, quick out. That's 13 consecutive retired by Locke as he works into the 7th inning with a very tiny pitch count. .70 pitches. Martin Prado, Christian Yelich will follow. Prado's bounces short twice. Just 2 hits for Miami, an Echeverria single, a Cole Gillespie hit, and another ground ball out. So that's 14 in a row. And he has faced the minimum. 1 strikeout, no walks. The 2 base hits were erased on 2 double plays. The Redstone Rocket has lived up to that. And Yelich takes outside. Yelich is lined out, bounced out. Little tapper, Locke has it. That's a 6-pitch inning. My goodness. Pitch count at 74. Is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. City of Miami all lit up, and right now so are the Fish. Pittsburgh 7-0. A Gregory Polanco grand slam right now. One of the big blows in the ball game. Cold hard facts from Coors Light this year. You see the record. We talked about Clint Hurdle's offense, and that's really been carrying the Pirates so far this season. Look at the on-base percentage, batting average, the runs per game. The ERA is high. Remember last year the ERA was very, very good, second best in the National League. Edwin Jackson, Jung Ho Kang, who takes down low with Starling Marte and Francisco Cervelli, coming up in the 8th, second inning for Edwin Jackson. That one fouled back. Ball and a strike. Pirates last year did get to that wild card game. They hosted the game and lost to the Cubs 4-0. Jake Arrieta 5-hit shutout. I told you that Madison Bumgarner got him in the wild card game in 2014. They won the wild card game against the Reds in 13 and lost to the Cardinals in the division series. That's Ozuna, and he makes a catch. We will get things started tomorrow night at 6:30 with Marlins Live, and then Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole take center stage and start dealing. Fernandez has been hot. Cole, the ace of the Pirates, and they go at it tomorrow. Clayton Kershaw, who had another really nice night with double-figure strikeouts last night, finishes the month, I believe, with just 2 walks.
It's amazing.
And so an ERA under 1. Jose's ERA is in the low ones in the month. Any other month, Jose is the pitcher of the month in the National League. But with what Kershaw has done, that's going to be tough to overcome. 5-0, actually not in the low ones. It's 169. Kershaw unbeaten in the month. And of course, Jose's start comes on the last day of May. Busted bat, Echeverria to his left. Better hurry, Marte can run, and he beats it. Infield hit, second hit of the night for Starling Marte, and it brings up Francisco Cervelli.
Running out of the box, kind of got that leaning reach for it, and with a guy like Starling Marte, that speed that he has, oh my goodness, that's getting down the line in a hurry. Etch's best effort, got no shot on that guy.
Kershaw, by the way, to go with his 2 walks, struck out 65 in the month, and the ERA was 0.91. That's what Jose's up against for pitcher of the month.
Yeah, that's
any other month. That one fouled at the plate. They are 1 and 2 in strikeouts, Jose and Clayton Kershaw. 105 for Kershaw, 90 for Jose at start of play. Steven Strasburg and Max Scherzer also have 90. It was a Tanner Roark start tonight for the Nationals, who trailed the Phillies, by the way, 2-1 in the 8th in Philly. Two and two. Now remember, Francisco Cervelli, a Yankee, a teammate of Ichiro's. And watch Cervelli. Little bow. Two. And that will send Marte scurrying from first.
Well, that's a good take, because that slider was close enough to induce a swing. That's a good take by Cervelli.
Marlins have not been holding Marte on. To short. And Dietrich turns the double play. Pirates are done in the 8th. Edwin Jackson, 2 scoreless innings in the book. 7-0 Pittsburgh. Glasses and cap. Marlins need it. They're down 7-0. Bottom 8 in Miami. MLB.TV Premium, #1 live streaming sports service available. Every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. You also get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, #1 app for live baseball. Blackout, other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.com TV for details. Check your local listings. Or your handheld device. Well, Jeff Locke, the 28-year-old out of North Conway, New Hampshire, has pitched well against the Marlins, but not this well. This is his 8th career start. Marcell Ozuna, JT Realmuto, and Chris Johnson. Ozuna's 0 for 2, and a couple of streaks are in jeopardy. A hit streak at 11, an on-base streak at 36. As well, he's hit in 27 of his last 28 games. Hit a deep fly ball out back in the 5th. And a deep fly ball out back in the 2nd. Left field warning track in the 2nd, center field warning track in the 5th. Ozuna fires at a fastball and fouls it back.
Jeff Locke has done something really interesting tonight. When he's behind in the count, when the hitter's 2-0, 2-1, he takes some off. When he's ahead in the count, that's when he throws a little harder.
Ozuna lifts it foul and out of play.
So he's actually inviting you to get big, to take that big swing when you got those 2-0 counts, 2-1 counts, 3-1 counts. He wants you to get overly aggressive.
How do you combat that as a hitter?
You just have to understand that that's this pitcher's personality and really try to stay on the ball. Because he's going to take off more than he tries to put on. So you just really, as a right-handed hitter, you're trying to stay in the middle center field, maybe a little bit towards right center. Because Ozuna's been in hitting counts most of the night tonight. But Locke has done a good job of just subtracting a little bit with the velocity, keeping them off the barrel.
And Ozuna shoots a ground ball out to 2nd. Harrison to 1st in time. And Marcell Ozuna an 0 for 3. And that's 16 consecutive retired by Locke, who never has been able to get through 9 innings in a game. But at 82 pitches, he's well within reach here. He just needs 5 more outs. He's been 8 innings deep 5 times. Mid-season last year was the last time he did it.
This is a Mark Buehrle-esque performance tonight.
That's a great comp, as they say on baseballreference.com. And there's the subtraction on a 1-0 pitch.
One of the all-time great men in baseball, Al Jackson, used to say, I love it when those big hairy-chested guys get up there and start taking those big swings against me, because I just dial it back, and that's why I'm driving a Cadillac.
Al Jackson.
Al Jackson, one of my favorite people in the world. Yes, Al Jackson. Great pitcher, pitched for the Mets back in the day in their early goings.
Three and 1 to JT Realmuto. He's lined out and struck out. In fact, that strikeout is the only one of the night for Locke. Full count, 3-2.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of weak ground balls and lazy flies and broken bats and just off the ends.
Broken bats and broken dreams. That a sharp ground ball. Gung across the diamond. And Locke just keeps getting outs. That's now 17 straight. The all-new RAV4, brought to you by Toyota, presents this inside look. Most hits after 50 games. So 50 games into the season, how many hits have you got? And is that a record for the Marlins? All time it is. But tonight, just 2 of them.
2 of them, and both of them were erased by double plays. That's why Locke has still faced the minimum number of batters tonight in this ball game.
To right, and Jeff Locke has faced the minimum through 8. A 2-hit shutout and a 7-0 lead. Shall we? 2,131 on this date, 1982. Plays the first of that streak. He went 0 for 2 versus Toronto at Old Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. .263.2. Jeff Locke looks like he's got a shot at his first complete game.
So he's looking like a monster tonight.
He is, the Loch Ness. Polanco into center field. Of course, a base hit for Gregory Polanco, who was 2 for 4, including a grand slam, and continues to hit well in this ballpark.
I just see him being a different type of hitter now that he's not in that leadoff spot. He's not so concerned with trying to take pitches to see what the pitcher's got. He's being aggressive. The swing looks much more fluid.
Here is Sean Rodriguez. And Jackson misses down low. On this holiday, baseball games seemingly from the very start of the day all the way through tonight. We were talking about the Phillies and the Nationals and how the Phillies had a 2-1 lead late in that ball game. Rodriguez gets into this one, hits it deep down the line. Gillespie back, and it is gone. Sean Rodriguez, kid from Miami, with a 2-run homer. And a nice homecoming for him.
This is what you call late barrel action. Catch that ball deep in the zone, but you swing all the way through it and you still get the carry as if you pulled this ball. That's not a cheap shot to go that deep in Marlins Park the opposite way. And when you got power like that in your 8th slot in the lineup, things are going pretty well for you.
Things are going better for the Washington Nationals, who rallied for 3 runs in the 8th to take a 4-2 lead in Philly into the bottom of the 8th. That series opening up in Philly. Of course, the Dodgers, who were in New York to tangle with the Mets over the weekend in what was a rather contentious but really fun series, were shut out by the Cubs. They were 1 hit by the Cubs.
You know, you hate to see that home run by Rodriguez because Jackson was having a really nice outing before that.
Locke swings and misses and strikes out. Cubs had a combined 1 hitter today. Jason Hamill left the game with a right hamstring cramp after 2 innings. And the Cubs, from that point, took it from there. Travis Wood went 4 innings to get the win, and then 3 relievers cleaned up. A 1-0 win for the Cubs. Actually a 2-0 win, but a 1-hitter for the Cubs. The Mets beat the White Sox, and the Dark Knight rose. Matt Harvey was outstanding. That was a 2-hit shutout for the Mets. Harvey got the win. That was over the White Sox. Harvey 7 innings, 2 hits, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. There's a possibility for next Sunday here in Miami for a Harvey-Jose matchup. Gillespie in full flight, and it's over his head and off the fence. Josh Harrison has himself extra bases. He's 2 for 5. Tell you what, if the Pirates are able to get their pitching together, the team ERA is over 4 right now. If they get anything close to what they had last year, this is a really hard lineup to get through because you've got power, you've got speed with just about everybody.
It's so balanced. There's a threat everywhere, and it's
I mean, you've got guys like Harrison, McCutchen, Gung, Marte, guys that hit to all fields. You've got Polanco. It feels like a bust-out year for Polanco. That one fouled back.
I mean, you look at that last pitch to Josh Harrison, that ball pretty much went right where Real Muto was sitting. And Harrison handled it and drove it out there the other way. Like, it's just such a good balanced lineup. They used the whole field.
Anytime in any league, when you are first in batting average, second in on base, fourth in slugging, second in stolen bases, they're fourth in doubles. So they have speed, they will use it. They're getting on base. They're doing damage, hitting balls in the gap in that big ballpark in Pittsburgh. And he really hasn't gone off yet. McCutchen.
Yeah, he's had a week here or there where he looked like himself, but not consistently like we're used to seeing McCutchen produce. And you know it's going to come.
Well, and you pointed out the power's been there. 9 homers, 11 doubles, and he has hit in 9 of his last 10. He's 1 for 4 with a single, and he swings and misses at a fastball there. Here is David Freese. And for Edwin Jackson, these are 3 important innings because the Marlins don't have an off day this week. This is a 4-gamer with the Pirates, with the Mets on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday before the off day. Freese smokes another one into right center field. That's going to push home Harrison. Have a day, David Freese, 4 for 5, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And Preston, correct me if I'm wrong, but the ball to right center, I mean, that's the sweet spot for David Freese.
He's a low ball hitter, and he likes the ball the other way. When you start dealing with him, you have to crowd him. He's one of those few guys where you have to pitch a little backward. You got to pitch him up in the zone to have more success because he likes the ball down and he stays on it, especially middle and middle away. And he's so good that way that sometimes if you try to go in and you don't get in enough, he can still get his hands through and drive a ball on the inner part of the plate out to center field.
Gung takes in, and it's 1-1. And we've been crowing about Polanco's numbers in this ballpark, but David Freese has been impressive here. (16 of 30). That's just that's a .533 batting average.
I mean, if you like that kind of thing, getting a hit in over half your bats, that does it for you. So be it. You know?
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 10-0 Pirates. Gung to right, Gillespie deep, and he makes the catch. Inning over. 3 more for the Pirates, 10-0. Sports Florida brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Start of the telecast, 10-0. Pirates on top. Start of the telecast, Preston Wilson and I told you how impressive the offense was for the Pirates coming in. Well, Jose Fernandez has had a ringside seat watching this. Tomorrow night, he'll be pitching against the Pirates. Garrett Cole, the former UCLA Bruin, which piques the interest of Jeff Conine, will be pitching for Pittsburgh. So a marquee matchup tomorrow. Jose, ace of the Marlins, and Cole, ace of the Pirates. Although, if you had not seen the Pirates play all year and you watch this game, you would think Jeff Locke is the ace. Because he has been incredible tonight. Just 2 hits. He's faced the minimum. And he gets another pop in the right. Polanco is there and makes the catch. This is as far as Jeff Locke has ever been in a major league game, in start number 101 in his career.
Well, when your pitch count only reaches 16 pitches, and that's a high for the innings tonight, in 1 inning, you're cruising. He's sitting at 93 pitches right now, and he looks like he's barely broken a sweat.
Derek Dietrich yanks one into the seats, and it's foul. Dietrich's second at bat. To add to the misery tonight for Miami, Miguel Rojas left with what looked like an injury on his right side. He was favoring and hanging his right arm as he came off after a line drive into center field. We have not received any word from the Marlins. Hopefully we'll have something on Marlins Live, which is coming up. Clubhouse reaction. We certainly will, because Don Mattingly speaks and we carry that press conference. And obviously he will address Rojas's exit. Dietrich bounced out back in the 6th. Locke ties him up. In case you missed it, this is the Rojas swing. And you can see the grimace hanging that right arm. Dietrich shoots one up the middle. Rodriguez gets it and throws him out. That's 20 straight set down by Locke. And that's, if you go all the way back to that third inning, when Gillespie had the single. Rojas then lined out, and remember, Nicolino tried to bunt. He bunted into a double play. So 20 straight. Jeff Mathis takes the at bat.
I mean, he is the very embodiment of a comfortable over.
Mathis flares one into right field, and that's a base hit. And so that snaps a run of 20 consecutive retired. That was on pitch number 100.
And even this is off the end of the bat. But he found a spot. It's always nice when you come off the bench, get that pinch hit, and you're 1 for 1. Well, that's Locke all night, just off the barrel, whether it be jamming you in a little bit up the label or off the very end of the bat.
Echeverria takes up and in. Echeverria started the night with a base hit into center. He was quickly erased on a Prado double play ball. 80-mile-an-hour changeup and a beauty. The Braves won. They beat the Giants. And so Atlanta, who took 2 of 3 from the Marlins, takes the first in their series with the Giants 5-3. They beat Jeff Samardzija.
You know, we don't always like learning lessons from the other side. But when you're a pitcher and you're looking at what Jeff Locke has done tonight, it shows you that it has nothing to do with velocity or overpowering. It's about being able to keep that hitter just a little off balance, outthink him.
Jam shot and a roller up the middle. Rodriguez to first, and impressively, the Pittsburgh Pirates roll into town and shut down the Marlins. A 3-hit shutout, first shutout, first complete game in Jeff Locke's career. This is his 101st start. So a special night for the Redstone Rocket, 28-year-old lefty out of North Conway, New Hampshire. Pirates get game 1 of this 4-game set. Marlins Live is coming up.